Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, January the 17th. Hey, we're spending some time with our usual crowd, Tom, Lee, Gentry, and Tracy, who are going to put us on some information, maybe help us get around some of this cold, running, muddy water. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, we're joined by Tom Ott, who's got all eyes on Lake Guntersville as always, but right now with the Bass Pro Tour guys there. Tom, it's cold, it's a little windy. What are those guys doing out there besides wearing all their rain gear?
Well, I'd say shivering is what they're doing right now. But these guys are going to catch fish. I mean, you know how it is. They can catch fish out of a bathtub just about, and really exploit some things out of your lake. It's just amazing to watch these pros come in, and the way that they locate these fish, they catch them. It's just amazing. But I think it's really going to showcase what Guntersville's all about. Really. I mean, these guys are going to tear it up. It makes me a little jealous, but what are you going to do? I just try to stay out of their way right now.
Yeah, a little bit of respect goes a long way for those tournament fishermen. I know it's a public body of water and you can go do anything you want, but those guys are fishing for a living, so I've always tried to give them a little wide berth.
That's the thing. I don't get in their way. I don't want to be in their way. And they love the fan base, and I encourage anybody to go watch and do all that. But you know what? Give it a couple of weeks before you go sitting on their holes. I don't think that that's something that's going to make you a friend, but it's a good time to get out there and. Like I said, I mean, these guys are catching them just what we've been talking about the last few weeks. There's some guys that are pinging minnows. There's guys that are throwing traps and chatterbaits. It's just showing out. I mean, Guntersville is just one of those places that you don't, and especially when you're talking, sub 20, 30-degree weather, it's incredible. It just shows you that those fish are still active. They're still out there, doing their thing. It's the fishermen that stay off the water during the cold weather months generally.
Yeah, and I'm glancing right now at Score Tracker. It's the first morning of the tournament. We're taping this on a Thursday. Bank Shaw's got 59-12. He's caught 18 fish, with his biggest being 414. So Jacob Wall's in second with 39, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So they're catching them.
It's unreal. It is absolutely unreal. And, and I think with this cold weather, the crappie bite's going to come on again. I don't know that anybody's concerned about that, but, the crappie bite's definitely going to turn back on. Not that it really turned off. It just kind of moved the fish around some. But, yeah, I think the real deal this week are the pros out there and just incredible fishery that they're on. It's just going to be an eye opener, I think, to a lot of guys and gals.
Brother, as always, we appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we are joined by our good friend Tracy Robinson. Tracy, I know you're kind of in touch with everything. Your boat touches all the bodies of water, but man, you really know what's going on at Logan Martin and Lay Lake. What's happening down there in this cold weather?
Yeah, Dano, we had a little cold snap there. Went from 80s back down to 20s, so obviously that changed things a little bit. But the fish are still bunched up, out there a little bit deeper now. Looks like they've kind of moved to those traditional channel swings a little bit more in those creeks where we were seeing a lot of fish roaming a lot. It seems like there's a few fish bunched up, both bass and crappie, on some of those creek channel swings. So, you know, probably a little bit more lethargic this week than they have been the past few weeks, just because of the temperatures. But dragging something a little slower out there on those channel swings, your small, jigs, smaller, even some finesse type worms out there. Some of them are still coming up and committing to some of the minnows out there. The bait balls dropped off a lot deeper too, and I'm not seeing as many fish chasing those bait balls this week as we were the previous weeks as well. The crappie are still hanging around in that 8 to 12 foot brush piles, so that's still a thing. But I just didn't see a lot of people out there fishing this week with the weather getting down into the 20s at night and only getting up in the 30s and 40s in the daytime. But I'm still seeing them on the Panoptics out there in that 8 to 12 foot in those brush piles.
All right, Lay Lake, I know that's been pretty good. They've kind of started to leave the grass a little bit. What are you hearing out of Lay?
Well, lay, grass everywhere, so they are leaving the grass, but it still seems like the grass is still kind of where they want their homes to be. But the grass that you need to look for there, not to fish it, but the deeper water that's next to some of those grass patches there, that's kind of where those fish are right now. They never, I don't think, really just get completely away from it. At least the largemouth don't. But find that deeper water, what I'm calling deeper water, where they can get into 8 to 12 foot of water. That's kind of where you're seeing some of those fish at right now. Slow rolling a spinner bait around some of that deeper water. I know that's not deep to some people, but 8 to 12 foot deep water, that jig or that spinner bait out there. You can still bounce around, as the sun starts beaming during the day, you can still bounce around a crankbait, some of those flat sides on some of the clay banks, some of those rocky banks, hitting some of those boat ramps. So that bite's not just completely gone away. But that's kind of the two things that I would say key into right now down there is that deeper water close to wherever your favorite grass patches are, and again channel swings like we talked about at Logan, where that channel comes up against some of that grass, fishing some of that, and then still hitting those sunny banks later in the day.
Tracy, as always, my friend, we appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for the time, and we'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we got our good friend Lee Pitts here. We are going to talk a little bit of Weiss Lake and Neely Henry fishing. Lee, let's talk Neely Henry. I know there's a ton of water coming through the system. It's dirty. The water's it's not up. It's a little low still, but that moving water's got to be helping a little bit, right?
Well, the biggest thing is right now, it has really, really helped everybody getting to work in their tackle boxes, doing some boat maintenance, and just catching up on some of the things where when the weather does get good, where we can go fishing. That's just one of the things with the Coosa. I know some of our other lakes have been fishable and they're catching fish. We've had so much mud come in that unless you can really, really get back in some of these pockets and find a spring hole or a deeper hole or something that some of these fish hadn't been affected with it, it's been a better week to work on tackle, reline things, clean your reels, and maybe do a little homework and sharpen some hooks and things like that. Been a tough week. It's just the wind has blown, it's been cold, and the biggest thing is the stained water come through, and on the Coosa, it's when I say stained, I mean rolling chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Um, Starting to clean up a little bit now, so hopefully next week we're going to have a lot more to talk about. The one thing we had happen on Weiss, they got out midweek and put out some of our habitat, with the Improvement Association. So you guys that want to know where the all the beds that they've put out recently, you can go to the Improvement Association and go to Alabama Power, and they've got the coordinates for it. So that right there is the only good heads up I can give you right now.
So if someone is going to go fishing, what's the key? They're going to go look for some cleaner water, some stuff that's maybe kind of the creeks that kind of back up instead of in line with the river. Is that what you want to look for?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? You've got to find the fish have been in the river. You've got two turbines blowing right now. You can't get a bait down to them. But if you can get back, even if it's some shallow water, that 3-4 foot of water, if it is protected and it's got just the stains not in there and it's got a little bit of cleaner water, some of these fish that have got some of these deep holes, that's where they're just holding because that's the only place they've got to go right now. Bait still scattered out a lot. The bait is all deeper than what I'm seeing right now. So if you can find somewhere out of the current, normally I like fishing current, but it's too much current right now. They're trying to get all this flushed out. So some of the protected areas, little deeper pockets, maybe some deeper pools back in a creek, way, way off of it. That's what I would look at that has some cleaner water.
Brother, we appreciate it. Thanks for the advice. We'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy. We're going to talk a little bit of lower Alabama fishing. Let's start at Jordan Lake today, and then we'll kick on to Martin. What's happening at Jordan?
Oh, Dano, this is what we've been waiting on, man. We finally got some dirty water rolling down that Coosa River. We've talked about it forever, but we finally got it, man. The current's always going to play up the river, but they can have it right now. This is what I've been waiting on. It's, black and blue jig, green pumpkin chatterbaits, red square bills, and, the old coleslaw, big thumping spinnerbait, man. This is what I've been they're down there, and even I actually had a memory pop up on my phone from a couple years ago. It was cold, it was muddy, and a lot of the better fish I caught that day I remembered was it was a black and red, like a swimming crawl. And I'd get in that dead grass with like a little bit heavier weight, but every time I'd pull it over those scattered dead grass, man, the spots were in there, and just I had a ball. So, that's a good thing about Facebook. It brings up some stuff I forgot and I can remember, but it's I'm gonna be down the lower end of the lake throwing big, ugly, noisy baits. That's what I've been waiting on.
All of that, and we got your boat confiscated right now, don't we? Waiting on your new one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Time
It's
to go
killing me.
thumb a ride. All right.
Yeah.
I know you're not much to want to go thumb the ride at Lake Martin. I know you'd rather be at places like Jordan and you fall and all of that stuff, but you know what's going on there, what's happening from all your contacts.
Yeah, well, it does play a little bit because Martin, a lot of that, especially coming out of the Tallapoosa, we get some rain. So the upriver part, the Sandy, even the back of Kalijah, it stains up, and those largemouth really show up on Martin because, it's like Christmas to them. They don't get it very often. So when it does, they really go up there and start feeding. But like I said, the back of Sandy, just, man, pitching docks with a black and blue jig, beating the paint off a square bill around them. You can go out in the middle of the lake and use your forward facing sonar. The water's still pretty clear, that plays, but for me personally, I'm going to the bank, and I'm gonna basically do the same I would do at Jordan. It's just certain areas of Martin you can do that.
Are they cutting around the dock posts this time of the year? Or are you just looking for rock? What are you kind of looking for?
Man, it's Martin's day to day, Dano, but the trash piles, that dirty water trash pile, when you can barely see the top of that trash pile and roll a big spinnerbait over it, or anything like that, it's amazing how they'll come out of that stuff. Even as cold as it is, it's like on a sunny day, it seems like that muddy water heat up a little bit. Man, they get up there and feed. So for me, I'm looking for shallow docks. Even they'll get up underneath there, like the floating part that's still in the water. They'll get up underneath there. I'll throw a Cinco or something up under them, but really just looking for something to throw at, whether it's dock piles, trash piles, anything like that.
Brother, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again next week, my friend. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, January the 17th. Thanks to the guys for everything that they do to help us every week. They spend a lot of time, folks, helping us figure out what we're going to do fishing. And like the rest of us at Bucks Island, we do it for you. We got the parts, the boats, and the tackle that you need. Come on, see us over here. We are open for business and ready to crank up for your fishing season or your boating season. Thank you for being the best part of us, and we'll talk to you again next week.